Police have clashed with gangs of streetcar enthusiasts. The violence in the inner suburb of Tempe closed the city highway and damaged police cars. The local council is now trying to arrange a peace meeting.
Heavily outnumbered in the previous weekend's clashes, police last night came prepared. Officers in riot gear moved along the Princes Highway, breaking up a meeting of more than 1,000 streetcar enthusiasts.
From 203, there are large objects being thrown at police cars. Just a warning, thanks to all those vehicles. Once
again, trouble. Police pelted with rocks and bottles. 8 police cars were damaged. Police made 2 arrests for missile throwing and violent disorder, while in a blitz on illegal street machines, they issued more than 140 infringement notices. The clashes were not as violent as the previous Sunday, when officers and rioters were injured in a running battle. But police say they will not tolerate such antisocial behaviour.
The police, if it is necessary, will take whatever steps they have to take to protect the interests of other road users and to protect themselves.
The crackdown follows 2 years of complaints from residents about excessive noise and drag racing in Tempe streets.
It has caused damage to their vehicles, to their property, and to basically the amenity of the area.
To blame, they insist, a roadside diner where the gang meets each Sunday night.
We can't stop the kids because they do what they want to do.
Last Friday, a court restricted the restaurant's trading hours. In another development, Marrickville Council has called for a meeting with representatives of the streetcar drivers on Thursday. While Sunday nights in Tempe may become quieter, it's unlikely that police action will solve the overall problem. Streetcar enthusiasts say they'll simply move on and find another meeting place elsewhere in the suburbs. Damien Ryan, 10 News.
He's being hailed a hero tonight as drag races. Hundreds of youths clashed with police in riot gear for the second Sunday running. The streetcar fans claim that heavy-handed policing will only provoke more trouble.
The police meant business last night. In full riot gear, they confronted a crowd of 1,500 youths at Dino's Diner on the Princes Highway at Tempe. They were determined to avoid last Sunday night's violence when 5 police were hurt. This has long been a place where street machine enthusiasts meet to burn rubber, but now the local mayor is surprised to see the riot gear.
I'll be certainly asking them as to whether they thought their actions last night in dressing up in riot gear was appropriate, and determining from that whether it was overboard.
Well, I've lived here for 61 years. I've never stuck it. And I knew in my younger day, if I played up, what to expect. But today, I just seem to ignore it. So I think, you know, it will get worse before it gets better.
2 17-year-olds were arrested last night. The police are urging the youths to take their cars out to Eastern Creek to burn off there. But there's this problem. The Sunday night regulars here say the makeup of the crowd is rapidly changing. They say the police presence has already driven away the serious street machiners. It's now actively attracting the troublemakers.
The people who are going to be here aren't serious guys about their cars, but they won't want anything to do with this sort of scene. And it's just, I don't know where it's going to stop.
The police will not hand over the roads to a few people who wish to break the law.
Lee Hatcher, 7 Nightly News.
As riot gear, the police confronted 1,000 people last night as they continued their crackdown.
Tensions ran high last night. Fired up after clashes with police a week ago, the car enthusiasts were determined to have their regular Sunday night gathering. But more than 100 police were just as determined to crack down on the meeting in the car park of local takeaway shop Dino's. Forcing the 1,000-strong crowd off the footpaths along the Princes Highway, scuffles broke out when bottles and other missiles were thrown at police. 2 people were arrested, and police say a number of police and private vehicles were damaged. As well, 120 cars were booked for various infringements.
One thing I do know is that the police will not hand over the roads to a few people who wish to break the law.
Those in the crowd say it was the big police presence that sparked the conflict.
Because there have been problems down here, it's just going to start attracting the idiot element, and it's just going to get out of hand.
Residents have signed a petition asking the council to close Dino's down in the hope the meetings here will stop. Police have suggested Eastern Creek as a legal alternative, but the standoff is set to continue. The car owners vowing to return to the streets next Sunday. The police say they'll be back as well. Flo Bitcon, National 9 News.
In court, charged with stabbing her defense. Sunday clashes between police and street racers. The driver's hangout at Dino's Diner was closed, while police stopped every fast car near the place. But the car wars haven't stopped, they've just moved on.
Riot police, dogs, running brawls, a war in the streets of Sydney, and all because of scenes like this. And this. It's Sunday night, a suburban celebration for young men high on horsepower, and never mind the neighbours. Roadside diners are the traditional meeting place. They compare motors, muck around, and yes, make a lot of noise. But they insist that only a reckless minority are a real menace.
You're doing speeds in excess of 160, 170 kilometres an hour on 60k streets, you know. One little mistake, you know.
If caught speeding, they expect to be booked, but say the police don't play fair.
If they don't catch you, you know, they got to pull you over in the street. They start defecting you. That's pathetic.
It's the dreaded defect notice, issued for what the racers claim are often trivial reasons.
Oh, your leads are too close to rocket covers. Oh, your fuel line's too close to your rocket covers in the heat. It's too noisy. Just all these little things.
The result, for a time they move to another district, another all-night diner, but the problem doesn't go away. The racers say they want to be left alone, but they just can't help attracting attention.
Go for it, go for it.
Doesn't matter what they do, everyone will be back to race. It's like they're not gonna just straight away cut out all the done-up cars. You know what I mean? The done-up cars are always gonna be there. Hot rods, they're gonna always stay there. You know, they're always gonna be there. You know what I mean?
Mark Burley, 7 Nightly News.